Hey guys, I had to reboot. It wouldn't find my webcam and all kinds of crazy stuff. So sorry about that. Um, so hopefully not too many of you left and was like, "Oh, what's going on?" So yeah, sorry about that. That was my bad. Um, Sweet, excellent. Not everybody left. Yay! Look, we have people now. Woohoo! Sorry about that. Okay. I had to reboot my machine as well, so like everything's down. Oh, I'm not even live yet. Oh, there we go. Now I'm live. Can't see you. Thank you. Excellent. Okay. Screen is dark. No video. It's coming through. Hopefully, slowly but surely. Hopefully, you guys should have a video pretty soon. Um, cool. Let's see if I do 30 frames per second, if that makes things a little bit better. Oh, and let's do, hold on, let me fix, man, it changed everything, didn't it? 1280 by 720, 30 frames. Okay, hopefully that should be a little bit better. No hat. Oh, here, just change it up. What hat we want today? How about that hat? There we go. Hat. Got the hat. Here, we'll be cool. We'll go funky. Cool. Okay. Hopefully everything's good now. Everything seems to be going well. Man, sorry about that. Not sure what's going on. I'm still working on this new webcam setup. If you notice, I got this beautiful background. Look, I'm like a YouTube superstar now. Okay. Where your boater? Yeah. What was I doing? Okay. So today, I thought we were going to. First off, hello everybody. Sorry. Hope everyone's having an amazing day. And yeah, glad that we got everything working finally. Sorry about that. So today I thought it'd be fun to. I got to be real with you. I've been procrastinating on building foundationstacks.com. Well, let's say working. I've been finding other things to do other than making the website. And I've showed peeks and hints every now and then. I think I did like a mock-up of the banner a couple weeks ago, and I showed that. But then I didn't do anything, and I shipped updates, and obviously I help you guys a lot on the community and all that jazz. So I've just been working, and so you know what? I figured I thought it would be fun to just work on the website live. I really need to get it done this week, so I figured, instead of coming up with an excuse of doing some sort of tutorial and teaching you guys, and then that eats up my entire Wednesday, I'm going to work on this project file live. Now, I've made some progress on the homepage, and I'll kind of do a quick review of what I've done already. And then you're just going to kind of watch me work a little bit, and I'll talk through my thought process and what I'm doing. And hopefully you guys enjoy it. You know what? I kind of afterwards give me some response back on the community, maybe, about how you like a session like this, because I don't know, I've always been apprehensive of just like kind of working and like just letting you guys watch me work, because I understand it's kind of cool, and I do a lot of things off the cuff when I do tutorials and stuff like that, but a lot of times it's semi-planned or it's very contained. But me just straight up building a website, and especially I'm going to do stuff I'm not sure how I'm going to implement it yet. To be honest, I don't know. So it could be good, right? It could be horrible. Maybe you'll probably learn that I fly by the seat of my pants as well. And I don't know. Hopefully you enjoy it. So today let me get things set up. Since I had to reboot, I don't have anything open. So let's get Rapid Weaver open really quick. This. This. Okay. Let me start sharing my screen now. You guys can just kind of see everything here. Display. There we go. Oh no, I don't have my little doohickey, my Mini me. Oh, I gotta fix that one too. Hold on one second. Let's do that. There I am. Woo! Okay, cool. If I do this, okay, cool. There we go. Hey everybody, I'm small down here, but I'm still super sharp and clear. Yes. Okay, cool. Maybe later on I can show you at the very end. I'm not sure how long we'll go. I'll go until you guys are maybe bored of me, or I'm super starving, because I am hungry. Okay, there we go. By the way, Jan, you're welcome for all your help on the community. I appreciate you as well. Thank you for posting and being a member of the community. Cool. So first off, let's open up Sketch, because I did something different here. Where is Sketch? It's not opening. Hello. Sketch is hung. Mini-Me. Oh, Mini-Me. Thank you very much. I had to put Mini-Me live. There, Mini-Me. Hello, everybody down here. Cool. Thanks. Man, I'm just having to reset everything today, aren't I? Man. Okay, hopefully things only get better from here. Finally, it is open. Okay. Wow, it's big. Big, big, big. Let's shrink that down. Okay. So, first off, I designed this in Sketch initially, and mostly because I didn't know really what I wanted, right? And I didn't know what design I wanted. I wish I still had the initial version of this where essentially this was kind of like a squared off and he was cut off. And while I liked the gradient and some of the text and whatnot, it just didn't feel modern, right? God, I wish I had a... Hold on, let me see if I can fish up a picture of that. Hold on one second. I sent it to somebody on Slack. Let me just find that really quick, and I'll maybe I have a preview on my desktop. Let me look at my desktop really quick. Do I have a screenshot of that somewhere? Rats, I do not. All right, let me quickly get this on Slack. Find this on Slack really quick, because it was good. I think it would be good to kind of show you my progression of this. Pretty sure I showed it on the live stream a few weeks ago, but oh yeah, let's just search for banner. Rats. I don't know. I can't find it. Okay, let me give you a quick rundown of kind of what it looked like before. Here, I'll just insert, insert a rectangle here, and I'm just going to go like this. Okay, and we'll make the fill color white. Okay, like that. And get rid of that and turn off the border. Okay, essentially I had something similar to this, right? Where, you know, actually it was almost exactly like this. Essentially it was just, you know, this square up at the top, like this is very just like super clean site, right? And while it looked nice, I was happy with it. Just something just didn't feel like it wasn't modern, right? And so I, you know, a couple weeks ago I did that design trends video, and another thing I did is I actually went around to various sites and kind of looked at like site templates. I actually went to Envato, And let me give you some, I'm going to spill all my guts here. Let's just go, where's Safari here? There it is. Let's see if it, I looked through a bunch of them. There was one in particular that, I just kind of, I browsed through Envato and was like, I wanted websites, and I just kind of clicked through these, right? Let me see if I can find the one that I kind of got some inspiration from. Of course, I'm not seeing it now. This one. There it goes. So it's this one. I saw this and was like, I kind of like that. That's, I don't know if this is kind of getting old. I know this was kind of a little bit from last year where we have, a lot of these rounded things and things overlapping it. And I liked that. I was like, you know what? I think that's what I want to do. I want to have these kind of these shapes. I talked about the trends. We have shapes on the sides and things are kind of overlapping a little bit. And that's what I wanted. Okay. So I didn't really download this. I just saw the images and kind of used the images as inspiration. Okay. So I went back to Sketch. I got rid of that straight line. And then I added this S curve to the banner. And then what I did is I took the Yeti out, right? And I kind of overlapped him. And I once I did that, I was like, I love that. Like, I really like that. I thought it was really great, right? Hold on, let me quit something over here. People are slacking me. Okay. So yeah, so here we go. I started doing this overlap thing where, it adds kind of a 3-dimensional effect, right? Where you're overlapping and gives it layers, right? And I always had this, this Weaver Space logo kind of in the background there, and that adds kind of another layer effect. And then I just started kind of building things, right? So then we kind of have a section with color, and then we have a white section, a section that has no color, right? Doesn't have these little blobs. But inside these sections that have just white, I didn't want them to be completely boring. So I decided to add, let's just kind of splash in some things, right? So I got some, some images of some Legos, kind of throw those out there a little bit. And as we scroll down, we have this section where we'll have this blob with an image that will kind of overlay on top of it. And then on the left here, we'll have a small little, sales point, with a graphic and a little bit of text. And we scroll down, then we have another white section. Now this one will be a little bit different. I'll probably build out like a horizon that kind of horizontally scrolls with some user reviews. So if you want to submit some user reviews that you want on the foundationstacks.com homepage, go ahead and send those along. Short reviews, doesn't need to be super long, 1-2 sentences. And yeah, your review could be featured right here on the Foundation Stacks homepage. I'd appreciate that. I'd like to have at least, half dozen or so reviews at least. That would be awesome. Then, and also as you see this in this white area, I add a little bit of differentiation because I add some drop shadows on these so that they pop up a little bit. And then I add more like these SVGs that are kind of related to this section, kind of just splashed in the background a little bit, kind of randomly have some random shapes in the background essentially, right? And we go down and we have a different type of blob with images. As you see, the images is overlapping over this background image, right? And then we have another section, some more content. And then down here, we have another white section with just kind of some SVGs kind of just sprayed around. And then we have another, kind of, as you see, I'm kind of alternating these sections a little bit, making them a little bit different, right? And, different blobs kind of on the sides, different images. And then down here, we'll have the features. I haven't built this out, but this will just kind of be like a grid of features that has, maybe an icon and a small bit of text about each feature. Not too dissimilar from what I have on the Weaver Space product pages. Okay. Not sure I will even get that far today. Okay. So yeah, there we go. This is kind of the design. Hopefully you like it. I'm pretty happy with it. And the reason I did this in Sketch was I didn't know what I wanted. And so I just kind of just randomly threw shapes and images and kind of moved things around and kind of got an idea of what I wanted. Okay. Because trying to just, since I had completely no clue what I wanted to do, trying to build it straight in RapidWeaver would have taken me a lot more work. And I could go through a lot more iterations with Sketch than I could trying to build it out inside RapidWeaver directly. Okay, so, a lot of times I will build things directly in RapidWeaver, as long as I have a general idea of what I want. Here, I was doing something completely different than I've ever done in the past. And I thought this was going to be an interesting approach. And I liked it. I do think it's a good approach. Again, this is Sketch. There's tons of other apps you could use for this, though. I mean, Affinity or Photoshop or, Illustrator, whatever your favorite design app is of choice. You just need an app to just kind of throw things out there, draw some shapes and whatnot. Okay. And I did like it. And I'm not going to be able to replicate it exactly inside RapidWeaver, but I'm going to get pretty darn close. And as you see, I've already done some. Let's go ahead and preview this. I'll show you what I've done so far. Okay. So this is what I have so far. As you see, it's pretty close, right? Not pretty close to what I had in Sketch. I did, I added, obviously I changed the fonts, I think, I had the fonts over there. So here I have the fonts. I made the buttons. I thought the buttons in Sketch were a little small. So I added buttons. I made the buttons a little larger, added some icons to the buttons. But as you see here, I have the S curve. I have the Yeti kind of overlapping and kind of sitting there, adding some depth, right? And I only did the first two sections so far. Okay. And then here I added the Legos, kind of spread them out a little bit, gave some depth. So that's where I'm at right now. I'll gladly show you kind of how I did a lot of this and maybe some of the workflows that I've done. And then I'm going to try to tackle something that I'm not sure how I'm going to accomplish. And that's doing this section here. I'm going to build out this little blob section. I have this image that's going to overlay it. And we'll have this text over here on the right. So this will be interesting. Again, never done this. I have some ideas on how I'm going to do it, but hopefully it will work out. We'll see. Okay. And I'll show you some workflow on how to get some of these designed elements like these little Legos that I created out of Sketch and into your RapidWeaver project as well. Okay. Let's jump into RapidWeaver. Oh, I don't need Zoom. Why is Zoom open? Quit Zoom. There we go. Okay. So here is the RapidWeaver project. Is this the correct page? Yes, it is. Okay. First off, at the top, I am using Shelf. So Shelf is a Foundation 6 stack that allows you to kind of pin site styles to the top. Super useful. And that allows me to, although I still find myself, because I'm so used to site styles always being at the top, scrolling all the way to the top to get to site styles and going, oh yeah, I forgot it's in a shelf, right? And then you can double click and access it from anywhere, right? So that is a convenience, okay? Another thing I did actually with this project, I use utility classes a lot. And there is a stack here for the sizing chart within Foundation 6. And even I sometimes forget what some of the incremental values are here, right? So like it's 64, 80, 48. Like sometimes I forget those numbers because those numbers are used inside various utility classes, okay? For like padding top, like say, for example, this container here, I have PY64, okay? And so let's go boop, right here. In this custom class, I have PY64, okay? And sometimes, it's like, oh, is it 60? Is it 64? I can't remember, right? And so for a while, I was, I'd open up site styles and scroll down to site styles and look. But site styles sometimes can get a little large and there's a lot of stuff in it. So I just added the size chart into the shelf as well. And I could just double click on the sizing chart. It opens up. I can see the value that I want, and then I can quickly close it and continue on with what I'm doing, right? So I found that a nifty little trick. I just kind of did that yesterday, actually. I thought that was kind of a useful workflow. So, and if you guys don't know, I am double clicking on these titles to open and close the stacks. This is a hidden preference that I've talked about a few times on this live stream. It's basically a terminal command you'd have to run to enable in stacks. Eventually, hopefully in stacks 4.2, it will be an official preference. But right now, there is a terminal command. You could just search for the word defaults on the Weaverspace community, and you'll find the terminal command that you need to run to do that, to show and hide. So it's like defaults. Here, actually, I think I have it in my clipboard because I texted it to somebody yesterday. Let's just open up. There it is. Oh, man, fat fingers today. All right, there we go. Here, that is the command right there. So, if you're curious, it is this big old command right here. And it depends. I do have to say, if you're using setapp, the command is slightly different. Okay, because every app in Mac has a bundle ID, and the bundle ID for setapp RapidWeaver is different than the bundle ID for normal RapidWeaver that you download from the website. So, so there's two different commands depending on if you have non-setapp and setapp version of RapidWeaver installed. Okay, and you can find this command in the community, so you can copy and paste it. Please copy it into the chat. Okay, here. I'll copy both of these into the chat. Again, there are two different ones. Oops. Hold on one second. Let me put that as two different posts in the chat for you guys. There's one. And the second one I'm posting here is for setapp. Okay. So again, this first one that I put in there is the normal version if you have it from the App Store, if you haven't downloaded it from the RapidWeaver site, and if you have it installed via setapp, it's a slightly different command. It has this -setapp in there. Okay. So anyway, so that if you just open up terminal, so you just open up terminal, which here, I'll open it up really quick. It's over here. Just paste that in there, okay, and hit enter, and you're good to go. That's it. Then you'll have to restart RapidWeaver, obviously, and then you'll have this beautiful ability to double click on a stack title, and it will show and hide that. Okay, pretty cool. And speaking of, I actually I added this feature into Pen. So now if you double click a pen, you can automatically open and hide the pen content just by double clicking on a pen. That's really cool. Okay. So that was workflow tip number one. Use shelf so that you can access site styles and anything else that you just want up at the top up here. Okay. And putting the size chart inside there could be pretty useful. Okay. Actually, you know what? Another thing could be useful is let's try this. I haven't even tried this. So like there is a classes stack. What if I chuck that into the shelf? Oh, check that out. So like now we have all the utility classes, a little cheat sheet for the utility classes as well. So boom, there, and you just look it up all the utility classes and then hide it. Cool. I like that. Size chart, utility classes, site styles. Kind of cool. I like it. I dig that. Yep. I know most of the utility classes, so I'm going to remove that. But yeah, that could be a good thing. Cool. So let's start looking at some implementation details. Okay. Is there a shortcut for the back after having made some changes to a partial? Okay. Yeah. Undo inside a partial is so, especially if you leave a partial, is very weird. Where is the shelf? The shelf is a stack as well. So here it's inside the Foundation 6 helpers stack. It's called shelf. And when it's here, okay, but when you add shelf to the page, it adds a little drop zone to the very top of the edit mode, which you don't see because I already added site styles and my size chart to it. Okay, so like if I add a new stacks page here, if we add site styles, and then I add like here, let's add some content to the page as well. So then I can add a shelf. And then if you see it adds a little drop zone, essentially what you do is you just drag site styles into shelf, and then you can open and close site styles up at the top, and it will always be there. That's pretty cool. Let me delete this page because I don't need that. All right. Okay, I don't want to start talking about partials and undo right now, and get completely sidetracked with that topic. Okay. If you join the Hangouts on Friday, that'd be a great time to talk about that stuff. Okay. So yeah, join our Hangout on Friday. We could chat about that. Okay, so here we go. Let's go into what I've done here. So here I have the overall container. Okay, so this container contains the entire banner, that purple banner. Okay, at the top, basically this entire thing here. Okay, and what I've done is I've given it a class of home-banner. Okay, you can see that down here. And also, what I started to do was I thought it was interesting is to you can give the title to a container and to a lot of the Foundation 6 stacks. I found if I added some custom classes to my elements, if I added that class name to the title, it would help me out a little bit. Because here you can see, like, I have a couple things here. I have home banner. Here I have home banner content, because that's the class, right? Here I have the home banner Yeti. And again, here I just added the class, and I added that same class to the title. And that just helped me out a little bit. Okay. I didn't do it on all of them. Like this one uses a utility class. I didn't put the utility class there. I guess you could if you really wanted to list everything out. But yeah, just kind of like the key things. Like this class identifies this one element, right? And it helps me kind of know that, right? Down here, I have the home banner logo, which is the Weaverspace SVG. Okay. And that's hidden. If I double click on that, you'll see it's the Weaverspace SVG. And then up here is this home banner Yeti is the Yeti. Okay. Is the Yeti astronaut, the Yeti Naut, as it's actually called. Okay. And here, this one I did add a utility class, but I wanted to specifically remember that I added a Z index to this one. So I actually added the utility class into the title, just to kind of give her a reminder that I did something special there. That is a little kind of edge case scenario. Okay. So anyway, let's get back to this. So the home banner, if we look over here, I gave it a HTML tag of header because it is the header of my web page. Okay, so this is defining, semantically that this is the header. And then for sizing, I just did auto, so there's no wrappers. It's just kind of like a generic box. Okay, and then I give it a class of home banner. And what does home banner do? So let's look at site styles really quick. We'll see that home banner is a gradient. Hold on one second. Let's just fix that really quick. There we go. So here we have home banner, and home banner is a radial gradient swatch, and that comes from the swatch pack. So if you're wondering, hey, I don't have a radial gradient, the swatch pack will be released as soon as this website is done. The new swatch pack will be released with this new website update. So that's kind of why I want to get it out, so that I can get this new swatch pack shipped out to everybody else that hasn't already pre-purchased it. which if you want to, you can pre-purchase it. Go to the announcements section on the community site, and you can find the announcement there where you can pre-purchase it. I have decided that the price probably will be going up from the pre-purchase price. So if you pre-purchase it, you will be getting a discounted price from the final price. So there we go. So this is a radial gradient. I'm not going to go over all this stuff. It's just I created a radial gradient, so it kind of is lighter behind the Yeti knot, and it gets darker out to the side, right? So the radial gradient's great for that. And that's the only thing that I added to that home banner, to that container. Okay. So inside this container, I have another container. Okay. Now why do I have that? So this outer container contains that radial gradient, right? And as you see, obviously we want that radial gradient to go the entire width of the web browser. Okay. But if you notice the content, I don't want my content to go the entire width of the web browser. I want to limit my content. Okay. So, let me minimize Sketch really quick, just so it reduces. Actually, let's just do this really quick. Oops, that didn't work. Let's do that. All right, and what in the world going on here? Woo, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, I guess that kind of works. All right, so we can kind of see everything. Interesting. So I have this outer container, okay, that contains that purple gradient background, okay? This inner container, the only purpose of this inner container here is to restrict the width of the content, okay? So here I have the sizing set to site width plus gutter. And the site width is defined inside site style. So if we go into site styles, I set my max width to be 1100. The default here is 1200. Actually, I felt that was a little bit wide for what I wanted for this site. So I reduced that by 100 pixels to 1100 pixels. Okay. Okay. So again, the only purpose of this second container here is to restrict the width of the content, basically of the Yeti and the text, because I didn't want them to go outside of 1100 pixels. Okay. So inside there, I then have a Columns Pro that is basically a 2-column stack. So we have 1 column, 2 columns. Okay. So inside Columns Pro, I wanted a little bit of gutter, horizontal gutter. So I added some margin and padding. I also added some padding to the top 48 pixels. So there was some buffer here from the top of the browser to, I could have added that to the container as well, but I added it to the column. Doesn't really matter. Does the same. I also set the alt class. So if we look at the class settings here, I have home banner content, alt PT48, right? So PT48 is 48 pixels of padding at the top. Alt is the alt color scheme that gives me all white content. Oops. Forgot. Got to leave that there. And then obviously home banner content has some special swatches associated with that, right? So if we go here, home banner content. What was this? Home banner content. Oh, here I wanted to do, this is height. So I just wanted to define a minimum and maximum height setting. So this actually is something that will be shipped in Foundation 6.8 as a couple new settings, min and max units for height. Okay. So if you're one of the people that are watching this and you requested these, thanks. I am adding, you can define units for the minimum and maximum heights. Okay. So basically I'm saying I want it to be a minimum of 50% of the viewport width or viewport height, right? And a maximum of, to be honest, I didn't want a maximum. Maximum could be whatever. So I just set it to be 300% of the viewport height, which it'll never be that large anyway. So there we go. So this will always be at least 50% the viewport height, and it can grow up to 300% of the viewport height, which it never really should. Okay. And let's see, I added some. Oh, we'll get to I actually have a bottom margin on this, and that's to take this this S curve and bring it up so that the Yeti is sitting on top of it. Okay. We'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, so pretty simple stuff so far, right? Nothing crazy. Okay. So here we go. We have column 1, and this first column again has a Yeti. Okay. And so in this column, I have the only thing I really did, I have the column split set to 5 and 7. Nothing really, no rocket science here. I did use a utility class Z:1. Okay, so Z:1. And that allowed me to, let's see here, I'll show you what this looks like if I didn't have Z:1. This is kind of showing me later on. Oops. Oh, interesting. Before, during my design process, this Yeti was behind the S-curve. Maybe I did something that doesn't require that anymore. Interesting. Cool. Let's remove that and see if I don't need it anymore. Oh, damn cache. See? Okay. If I open up the dev inspector, let's go ahead. And if you preview in the browser, okay, and sometimes, there we go. Okay, if you open up the dev inspector, okay, the dev inspector by default actually, and it's controlled by the network tab and this little doohickey right here, this little kind of database looking thing, that tells it not to cache. Okay, so in preview, if you want to make sure that you're previewing in the browser and Safari doesn't cache anything, open up the dev inspector and click on this little doohickey right there, and it won't use any cached content. Okay, so I do need that Z1. I knew it. Let me put that back. Z:1. Z:1. Okay. There we go. So as you see, that Z:1 adds a stacking order, a Z index of 1 to our Yeti, and he brings them forward. Okay. I know I probably should have revisited that after we added that, but that's the reason that's there. I'm kind of going in order of the web page here. Let's talk about this SVG here. Okay. This is an SVG stack. And if you didn't know, SVGs are just like their code. Okay. They are nothing like a JPEG or a PNG or anything like that. Okay. They are code. They're instructions to the browser on how to draw something. And what's cool about them is they'll scale infinitely. As you see, SVGs can be pretty large. Like this guy right here it's a big SVG, right? And I'll go into some quirks on why I actually might change this guy to be a PNG instead of an SVG. Okay. But first, I'm going to show you how I got this SVG into here. Okay. So let's go back to my desktop. Let's bring up this sketch document here. So this guy right here he is. This layer in Sketch is this guy. And he is a vector, right? I mean, it's made up of a ton of various little paths, and they're all put together to make this guy. Okay. Now, there are a couple different ways to get SVG code out of Sketch. And I'm sorry, the next minute or two will be about Sketch. There's going to be different ways to do it on your whatever app you have. I was really hoping so Sketch has this feature. I can right click on a layer in the sidebar and say copy SVG code. Now that seems just too good to be true, right? So I was like, cool, I'm going to copy this SVG code. I'm going to go into RapidWeaver, go into my SVG stack and paste it in there. Okay. And one thing we need to make sure is at the very top, it has this XML tag. We need to delete that, right? This guy right here, this XML tag, you got to delete that. Can't have that in there on a web page. Okay. And you close that and you go, boom. Wait, what the heck? If you look here, what it did is it didn't just get the Yeti, but it got the background from inside there too, which is crazy because that background isn't a part of this layer at all in the document. So I don't know. I think that's really retarded from Sketch. Just to be frank, I think that's stupid. Like if I right click on a layer, it shouldn't get everything that's like visible in that layer. I don't know. I think that's idiotic. If anyone knows how to get rid of that, I would love. I did some Google searches, couldn't figure it out. So I did this other method. So if you select a layer, you can go over here in the sidebar, and you can by default it doesn't have it, but there'll be a box here that says make exportable. Here, let me click on a different layer. There. So I clicked on this text layer, and you can say make exportable. You click on the plus. Okay. And that will show this. And essentially, what here by default, this will be set to PNG. You can set it to be an SVG. Okay. And if you'll get a preview on what gets exported. Okay. So you see a little checkerboard in the background, meaning it's just going to export this Yeti. And then you click export selected, and you can say, I'm going to save it to my desktop. Yeah, we'll replace the one that's already there. Okay. So, now let me drag this into a code editor. Here is, here's the SVG, right? Pretty cool. Pretty big one. Okay. Now, as I said before, we're going to have to make sure what you can do is you can either delete this XML, or you can select everything, below that. And then you can copy that, and then you can paste it directly into the SVG stack. Boop. There we go. Now I got my Yeti. Okay. Now there's a couple things. This is an SVG file. You could upload this to your server. Okay. And instead of embedding it on the web page, you could serve it as an image. Okay. And then essentially, instead of an SVG stack, you would use a picture stack, and then you'd put the URL, the warehouse URL to the SVG in the picture stack, and voila, there you go. Okay. Now, if you serve this as an external SVG, you want to keep this XML line. Okay. The only time you don't want this XML line is if you're going to put it inside of an SVG stack. Okay. Hopefully that didn't confuse you too much. Now, one other thing I should say is that Sketch and a lot of other apps actually put in a lot of extra code in your SVG that you don't necessarily need. Okay. So what can we do about that? Well, you're probably familiar. There's an app called Image Optum. It's a very popular image processing app. It does JPEGs, PNGs. It is just, and it's free. Okay. So yeah, Image Optum is pretty awesome. And one thing it does is it does SVGs. So I'm going to drag and drop this Yeti SVG. And as you see, boom, it compressed that SVG for me. It cleaned up the code and compressed it for me. Okay. So at that point, I can just Control A, Control C, go back into here, and paste in that optimized code. You don't visually see anything, okay? But it removes some unneeded attributes, so it makes the size of the text a little bit smaller. Again, the output should be identical. It shouldn't. I mean, it should look exactly the same. It's just making things a little bit cleaner. So if you wanted to do that extra step with an SVG, go ahead and do that. Okay, I did that on all the SVGs on this page. I did that for all some of these Legos. I'm not going to show that again. So anyway, that is a nice little workflow for SVGs here. Did it save me 1 kilobyte? It could have. I didn't even check the size. I should have. Oh, it did. In Image Optim, it probably said how many kilobytes it saved me. Yeah. Right? So, oh well. Yeah, it probably saved me about 1 kilobyte. So that's 1 kilobyte of text that you're not going to have on your page, right? Good catch, Gaston. Thank you. I just realized that I forgot to change my screen resolution before sharing with you guys. I'm sorry about that. Normally I adjust my screen resolution of my display here, and because of all the technical difficulties, I forgot to scale my screen down. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. I can't change that now or it's going to mess up the stream. So, yep, everything is very tiny. I'm sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. There we go. SVGs are done. All right. The Yeti guy is done. Let's see. Home banner Yeti. What did I had a class set to that. Let's see what I had style set for that. I think that was just to adjust some of the custom. Oh, I don't even need that class anymore. Before I had some sizing swatches, but I didn't need those anymore. I have to say it took me a little while to get this properly. Originally, I had this Yeti in a position swatch, so I was like absolutely positioning it, and that was just funky. So this 2-column approach that I did, which is what I should have started with, I went for the difficult implementation first, which I tend to do sometimes. And anyway, so okay, column 2, really simple. It's just a header stack with some margin. I have so this text stack here, this visibility. I have a visibility stack around it, so that we don't see this paragraph of text on mobile. Okay. Now I haven't done full testing on this on mobile yet, but eventually if we go down, you'll see that that text is gone now on mobile. Okay. I still have work to do on this web page design with making it nice, responsive, everything. Today, for right now, we're just going to analyze it on desktop. Okay. So bear with me. But this text is not really useful on mobile. It's just kind of, it's nice text to have, but it's not so important that I want to, worry about it on getting it on a smaller screen. So, that's something you need to think about. Is there text, or is there images, or is there things that you can hide on mobile to make the layout work better on mobile? Yeah. Yes. Sorry about that, Gunter. My screen resolution. Okay. And then I have a button stack. So the button stack here, if you notice, I have an icon. How did I do that? Okay. So I'm using Font Awesome 5, and I just have the icon, the actual Font Awesome snippet. Okay. So here, to get the snippets, you just go to fontawesome.com, and you go to icons, and you find your icon that you want, and you go ahead and click on this little snippet. Okay. Make sure that you have, I'm using the light icons. So make sure that you're using, the proper snippet, and make sure that inside Site Styles, you have Font Awesome turned on, and you're loading that particular style of icons. So I'm loading the light icons, and those are the only icons I'm going to be using on this page. Okay. And so you click on the light icon here, click on that, that'll copy it, and then you can go into your button, okay, and paste it straight in the label. So if you look here, I have, okay, in there I have the Font Awesome snippet as well, and then after the snippet, I have my text. Now, I will say that by doing it like this, a lot of times people will have issues with spacing between the icon and the text. Okay. Especially here, some people, you could put spaces in here. Okay. However, that could produce some ununiform results across different buttons. So what I've done here is I put the text directly next to the tag, no spaces or anything. Okay. Then, if we go down, we will see that I have, here we go. So here I have a margin swatch, and inside the margin swatch, I put the class of FAL. That is the class for Font Awesome. So if you see here, Font Awesome has FAL for light icons. See, FAL. And then my parent class is button. So what this says is, I want to target all Font Awesome light icons that are inside of a button. This is how you do that. Okay. And then I just did a right margin of 8 pixels. This one swatch will then go ahead and on every button on the page that has an icon, will add a right margin of 8 pixels. So then now I have exactly 8 pixels between the icon and the text for every button on the page. Pretty cool. Okay, let's keep going. So after the button, here is the logo. All right, so that's this white Weaver Space version of the logo. And if you notice, it is over here kind of drifting on the side. It's barely visible. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Okay, it's barely visible on the side over here. It's just kind of giving a hint of what we want. And you'll notice that I have a home banner logo and no click. Okay, I'll talk about we'll talk about no click in a minute. But let's look at home banner logo. Okay, go to site styles. I have a few ones for that. So here I have a position swatch. Okay, so here I'm positioning it absolutely. So basically, what I'm doing is, if we hold on, let's look at this. So here's my logo. Basically, in the column, you want to set position relative. And what that will do is when you set a column or a container or whatever to be position relative, if you apply a position swatch to this SVG, the position is going to be relative to the column that you choose position relative. Okay. So in this case, for the home banner, I said I want it to be top 0%. Right negative 65%. Okay, so what that does is it's relative to the second column. So it's going to go to the top of the second column, which is 0%. So we're going 0% to the top and then negative 65% to the right. So I'm moving the logo 65% over. Okay, and then I have an opacity swatch, which sets it to be opacity 5%. Which makes it very faint. It's just there for accent, right? And let's see, I have a width swatch, so I set that to be 500 pixels wide, or actually 700 pixels wide on large, and then it gets smaller for medium and small. Okay, so yeah, I have different sizes. I have a swatch for that. Okay, now there's another thing. Let's go ahead and set this opacity to be 100%. Let's preview that change. There's the logo. Okay, and as you see, it's hovering over this button. What the heck? Okay. So I could have applied a z-index to either this content or something, right? So that this logo was behind the button. Okay. However, when this is at 5%, let's change that to be another power user tip. If you want this slider to be an exact value, instead of trying to slide it to be that value, double click on the number and you can type in the exact number that you want. So in this case, I wanted 5%. Let's preview. So this was initially I was gonna define some values to make sure that this was behind the button and everything. However, if you notice, this is so subtle. I don't even know if you can see it over the Zoom call, or over the live stream, right? But if you notice, over the button, that logo actually goes over the button. But since it's at 5%, you don't really notice it very well. But I kind of like it, right? It gives something different. Okay. So I was okay with that, it being over the button. Now, normally, when something is covering a button, you won't be able to click on a button. Okay. But if you remember, I added this cool class to the SVG called no click. Okay. Now, normally I tell people to use this no click utility class on something that you want to disable clicking on. However, there's another use for no click. And that essentially means the mouse completely ignores that element. So even though this SVG is covering the button, because I have no click on it, it basically, the browser ignores it and the click event goes through into the button. Hopefully that makes sense, right? But that is very cool. Okay, that is super useful, especially for things like this and using position swatches in general. Because a lot of times, maybe on certain sizes, you'll have text or you'll have some sort of invisible element covering a button or a link and you can't click it. Well, just add the no click class to that particular thing and you'll be able to click through and onto whatever it is, either whether it's a button or a link or whatever. So pretty cool. Here, that again, this SVG is covering the button. It's very faint, but I did kind of like the effect. So I kept it, and the no click class allows me to click on the button even in parts where the SVG is covering that button. Okay? So, okay, that pretty much covers it for the second column. There's a lot going on in the second column, so hopefully you're staying with me here. Okay, next is my little curve line. Okay, it's important that this curved line, if you remember, we had a couple different containers up here. We have one container that goes the full width that has the background color. We have another container that contains the content. Okay, this seams stack needs to be outside the home banner, the first container. Okay, because we want to make sure that seam. Now, this is a stack that does not ship with Foundation 6. This is one of my other stacks. It's called Seams. And it can do S-curves like this very easily. So I added seams into the top container. And I added an S-curve. And I adjusted the S-curve to how I wanted it to look. And voila. I set the color to be white. And we're done. Okay. Now, remember, in order for the seam to work, the only thing I had to do was on the Columns Pro stack. Right? Wasn't it Columns Pro? No, the container. Where was it? Where did I have the negative margin? Somewhere. I had a negative margin somewhere. Oh, it was this. I did it via a swatch, not a utility class. That's right. So, okay, on home banner content, I added a margin negative 12, basically negative 192 pixels from the bottom. Okay. So it is important that I set this seam to be 200 pixels. And so you want to make sure if you're going to shift it up, I'm shifting it up less height than what the actual seam is. Okay, so the seam is 200 pixels, but I'm bringing it up 192 pixels. So that way there's no you're not bringing up extra. Okay, so this seam is 200 pixels, and we're shifting it up from this home banner content from this Columns Pro because this has a negative margin on it. Okay, of 192 pixels. It's going to shift everything below it up, including the seam. And then remember, we needed to add a Z index to this Yeti so that it popped above that seam so that it overlaps it. Wow. I've already been talking I did start late, but already been talking for an hour and I haven't even created anything new yet. Okay, that was the most complex part, I think, of today. Now, one thing I do have to say about earlier, I said I might not use this SVG for this Yeti, and I might use a PNG instead. Why is that? If we look at this Yeti, if we look at it in Sketch, check out this horn and some of the gradients that are created on this. Okay, and even some of the gradients down here along the side. They look really, really nice and well done in Sketch. And also, if you look at his mask, you can see his glasses are a little bit darker. It's because the way the blend mode happens on the helmet, okay, is a little bit different. But when I take this SVG and look at it inside of a browser, and this is true for any browser, you'll notice that these gradients aren't exactly as beautiful. Okay, the masking job on the helmet isn't perfect. Okay, Now, this is using some more, rather advanced gradients and SVGs and stuff. So, and all browsers don't. I'm not sure exactly which settings inside Sketch is causing all this. Sketch looks beautiful in Sketch, and it also looks beautiful in Affinity Designer. I tested multiple apps to see, and it's just browsers don't render that particular type of gradient in that is used inside the image apps nicely, and the masking on the helmet isn't as good. Okay, so it looks different. It looks different in my browser than it does in my image app, and there's really nothing I can do about that. So I have to decide whether or not I'm happy with that, if no one else will really notice it, or just go ahead and use a PNG instead. Because if I exported this guy as a PNG, it will look exactly like that. So I think I might do that here. So yeah, I'd have to use a PNG instead of an SVG, but you know what? I think it will probably look better. So chances are I'm going to have to rip out this SVG, replace him with a PNG version using the picture stack, and that's that, and call it a day. Okay. Sweet. Okay, let's go down to see how I did this. This section here is pretty dead simple. Okay, we have a container. The container here, the only purpose of this is to limit the width of the content to be site gutter. And then also I added some padding to the top and bottom of 64 pixels. I then have a one column stack. I could use a container here. I don't know. I threw a one column. I was playing around with different things like column sizing and whatnot. And then inside there I have a header. I have some text. And then here I have a two column stack with two buttons. Okay. Now, if you look out here, two buttons, they're both the same width. So what I did is I found out the width of or the minimum width I would need for this what's included button, since that's the bigger one. Okay, and then I used a utility swatch, W:256, to set each of those buttons to be the same size. So I put that utility clause W:256 to both buttons. That makes them look the same. If I were to remove that from the buy button, okay, you'll see that over here it just doesn't look nice, right? Because this button's one size, this button's a different size. So the remedy for that is just to add and make sure that those two buttons are symmetrical and that they have the same width. Okay. I put in these buttons. I put in the icons just like we did in the previous button. And because of my swatch that I talked about earlier, it has exactly 8 pixels padding between the icon and the text. Okay. One trick I did on this two column, I wanted, the two buttons to kind of be centered within this content area. And one trick for that is to use the two column. I added some gutter via the spacing so that, there was some spacing in between those two. Then I simply made this, the first button aligned right, and make the second button align left. And that's how you kind of get that look. Okay. Okay. Next is these little Lego SVGs. Oh, actually, one other trick. Okay. I wanted to this paragraph of text here. I don't like having extremely long bits of text on my page. So I like to limit it between 50 to 70 characters. Okay. So how can we do that? Before I was trying to limit that with this one column by using the sizing. Okay. But I thought there was a better way to do that. So inside Site Styles, I created a couple interesting swatches here. And what I did was I just set the class to be P. So this is going to apply to any paragraph on the page. Any paragraph on the page. Okay. And I have two of them. One is a width, one is a margin. Okay. So the width, basically what it is, I set a detailed width. I set the minimum width to 0 pixels and the maximum width to be 55 characters. So now this will affect, again, any paragraph on my entire page will never be more than 55 characters wide. Pretty cool, right? Now, I know for a fact on this page, I want any big paragraphs like that, I want them to be centered. So what I did here is I just said all paragraphs on the left and the right, set that to be margin auto, and that's how we can center that. Okay, let me just show you really quick. If I turn this off, the paragraph will be aligned to the left. I didn't want that, right? I want my paragraph centered, okay? And you can't use text align centered, because if you look, this text is centered, but the block, because I'm limiting the width of this paragraph, I need to be able to center that paragraph block, if that makes any sense. So we do that by setting the left and right margins to be auto. And I'm targeting all paragraphs just by simply using CSS, and the selector is just P, because that's what a paragraph is. Pretty cool, right? Let's preview that so we can see the change. So there we go. Okay. Let's scroll down. Let's look at these Legos now. Okay, so I have 3 Legos. As you see here, I have one up at the top, another one over here, and another one down here. Okay. In the finished product, I might change the position of this little doohickey right here. Maybe move him up a little bit over here, so he's a little bit better positioned. But these are just SVGs that I got from my sketch document. I followed the same exact procedure as I did the Yeti. I'm not going to do that again and waste our time. I exported the SVGs from Sketch, ran them through ImageOptum, pasted the code directly into here. Okay. As you see, this is just a big old SVG file. Okay. And then I gave each one a class. So I have Lego-2x3 for, this is a 2x3 Lego. This one is a 2x2 Lego. And this one is a 1x1 Lego. So I just gave them classes of Lego dash and then their Lego, so I can kind of give it a unique name. Let's look at the, I didn't need to scroll to the top. Let's look at the swatches. So for the, I just applied position swatches to each of those so that I can position them where I wanted. Okay. So here I have the Lego 2x3 is just positioned relative to the parent, top right. So it's top negative 80 pixels. So it pushes up 80 pixels. And it's right, it kind of comes over, so it kind of overlaps with the title there. Okay. And then the position here is the 2x2. I have it 0, 0, so very bottom left corner. And then this one, I was kind of playing around with the position of this 1x1. Okay. So those are just position swatches. Again, just kind of random shapes. The SVGs themselves have an opacity set, I think, to 20%. So even actually like right here, this is actually covering the text. Okay. But again, you can't notice that. You don't notice that at all. Okay. Because the opacity of the Lego, and this is really dark text anyway, you're not going to notice the overlap at all. Okay. If this was something different, I might have to, have some issues with, play with Z indexes. Maybe set the Z index of like something like this to -1 so that it kind of goes behind the content. That has some other ramifications I'm not going to go into now. But yeah. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay. Cool. Man, I am getting hungry and I haven't even created new content at all. Okay. Any questions on what I've done so far? It looks like I don't see any in the chat, so hopefully you guys are kind of following along and enjoying it, hopefully too. There are some other swatches I wanted to talk about a little bit. First, you'll notice that my text, I wanted my text big, like really big, very readable. So inside styles, I set my default text size to be big. So my default text size is 20 pixels. Okay, so the default is 16. I change that to be 20 because I just want really big readable text. Okay, so I changed, again, my text here inside site styles. And then I tweak some of these H1s and H3s, obviously to kind of, this is an H1 of the page. This is the H3. So those, obviously, you tweak those to be what you need. And you can tweak those to be small, medium, large, different sizes. So as I make this responsive and change this, I'm sure I'll be adjusting these sizes. But I definitely wanted my default text size to be big. Okay. Now, however, in this little header subtitle right here, this is a paragraph that I didn't want to be 20 pixels. I felt 20 pixels was too big for this. So what I did here is I created a little font style swatch that changed this, everything that's in the home banner content. Okay. I changed that to be 18 pixels. Pretty simple. Okay. And then on my H1, what did I do here? Oh, I adjusted. So this H1, by default here, let me just turn that off really quick. Let's turn this off there. Okay. We preview that. This is the default spacing for my H1 because my H1 actually has, let me show you how I did that, how I spread the H1 across multiple lines. I added little BR tags. Okay. So I do unlimited websites, break, no subscriptions, break, 0 code. Okay. So I added little breaks into there, and by doing that, it uses the line height of the header, and I just didn't like the spacing there. So what I did was, let's go back to my style here, put that back. So basically on my H1, I adjusted the line height to be a little bit smaller, so 1.1. Okay. And if we look there, it looks a lot nicer now, right? It's not so good. Or it's much better, okay, to read. So that is that. And then also I wanted my button text. By default, inside Foundation, the text in the button is going to be set to 16 pixels. I wanted that to be larger as well, so I just set a font style. I set the class to be button, and then I set the text size to be 20 pixels. So that way, the text in my buttons are nice and big as well. Okay. And if you're curious, I'm using font families, right? So these are the font families. I'm using Hoffler, which is typography.com. Oh, it could be fun. Let's look at that really quick. So early log in, go to my dashboard, unlock with my watch. Thank you very much. Boom. Boom. All right, so this is the project. If you haven't seen, this is typography.com. They have some pretty exclusive fonts. One of the fonts I purchased is Operator, which is like the quintessential Weaver Space font, which is this right here. I know it's a very polarizing font. A lot of people tell me they don't like it, but I love it. So, yeah, I love it. It just, the moment I saw this font, I wanted it for my brand. So I spent the moolah to purchase this font, and I can use it however I want. Okay. But if you just want it for the web, you can, it's a lot cheaper. I think typography.com now is $100 a year, I think. Don't quote me on that. And then you can use all of their fonts now. And they have big name fonts like Gotham and stuff like that. They have a lot less fonts than Google Fonts. But they have some really like very popular fonts. Like Gotham was the font that, I believe that was the font used in the famous Obama campaigns. That's kind of what made that font popular. So I'm using Operator and Gotham, the same fonts I'm using actually on the Weaver Space site. So my body text is Gotham, and then this is Operator. Operator italic actually. So here I'm telling typography what I'm telling the service what fonts I want to load. So I'm loading 400 italic and bold for my body content. Okay. In the future, if I wanted to load a different weight, I could. And then for the Operator, I'm loading only 2 different weights and only the italic fonts. I'm I may add a couple others, like I may do the non-italic operator book for maybe some accent text content areas, but the italic version of this font is the one where you get the cursive and stuff like that, and I absolutely love that. Especially, it's very readable, I feel, for large headers. So I'm only loading 400 and 600 italic. That's it. And yeah, there we go. It's kind of cool. It shows you the size of the font files that's going to be. So this is 171 kilobytes. And then, I put all the information here into Font Pro. So I'm loading all three fonts, the bold, italic, and the book. I'm assigning those to, let's see, the bold operator is assigned to my H1s and H2s. My book is assigned to H3s, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And then Gotham book is assigned to the page-wide default. So that's going to be the page-wide default is Gotham. So Gotham gets assigned to everything else. Okay, so that was just a quick overview of how I have the typography set up for this site. Okay, man, I am getting really hungry. I have a bag of chocolates here. I'm gonna just take a bite of one. Get some tea. Oh, Gunter, you're following on the iPhone? Yeah, you might want to watch this later on your desktop or something like that. Sorry about that. Okay, let's, man, I've already been going for an hour and a half. Crazy. Time flies when you're having fun. Especially now, let's go ahead and create this section right here. Okay, I'm going to create this section and then we'll probably call it a day because my stomach needs some food. Okay, so obviously let's dissect this this a little bit. This is a 2-column, right? So here I have text, and on this I have an image, and on this side I have a background image that has this little squiggly thing, right? So let's do that. I'm going to need this SVG, okay? Let's do here, this right there. Look at that. I wonder if I can just, curious if I do, it's probably not going to work like that, huh? Can I just do copy SVG code? That would be like really, really, really cool. I'm just going to test if I can do, because it's just a path. It's not a group. Just drop in an SVG stack. I really want that copy SVG code in Sketch to do what I wished it could do. And I don't think it's going to work. No, there's no way that'll work. Because it embedded the JPEG in there, didn't it? No! Look at that. Horrible. Why does it do that to me? Hate that. Man, it sucks. Okay, anyway, so now we're going to have to click on this path. I'm going to have to make it exportable, so we'll do this. There's my blob. Let's call it an SVG. And I'm going to export selected. And let's call this fast dash blob. Why not? Because it's the fast and modern section. Fast blob. Save that. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and let's open up Image Optum. And I will drag this SVG into there. And voila. It's now 773 bytes, which is awesome. Okay. And then now, I'm going to use this as a background image. I'm not going to be able to use the SVG stack. Interesting conundrum here. What did I add for background options inside site styles? Let's add a background. If you did, I could warehouse it, right? Because image, you can't drag and drop an SVG into here, right? That would be nice, but you can't. So I'm going to have to use, I could use warehouse. I could use resources. Let's do that. You know, I don't use RapidWeaver resources hardly at all. So let's go ahead and use RapidWeaver resources. And I'm going to add this into there. So this is fastblob.svg. Okay, so I added that into the resources. And let's just call this fast-blob. Blob. Okay. And we're going to link it to my resource. Okay, so if I did that too quickly, I opened up RapidWeaver's resources. I dragged and dropped my SVG into there. And if you want to use an SVG as a background image, you have to use the warehouse feature, okay? Because you can't drag and drop SVGs into these image wells, right? It doesn't let you, okay? Because these image wells are made for bitmap related images such as PNGs, JPEGs, stuff like that, okay? So, but warehouse, we can apply that. Now, the bad thing about this is we won't be able to see if you link to a warehouse resource, you can't see it inside edit mode, but it should work in preview. Okay, so that should work. Okay, let's see. Tiling, we want no tiling. Image size, I don't want cover. I think I want auto. Interesting. We'll have to play around with that. I'm not exactly sure what I want there. And position, I want it right middle, I believe. Okay. Origin, we'll keep the rest the same. I think that's what I want. Really don't know. Be interesting. Okay, so let's. I'm gonna add it to. Let's do this. Let's add it to this container. That's fine. Just as a test. Fast-blob. Oh, that didn't work, did it? Let's do. That's fine. Page restart is oh, it's not found. What? Oh, interesting. It's looking for, oh, very interesting. It should be looking in resources. The path is wrong. Interesting. That might be a bug inside RapidWeaver. Okay, let's do this a different way. All right. Told you I was flying by the seat of my pants here. Okay, so hopefully that was going to work. That didn't work. It's not putting the proper path to this fast blob SVG, unfortunately. It's looking for it in the wrong location, looking at this. That's why we didn't see it on the page. So for now, I'm just going to, let's open up Transmit. I'm going to upload this to my server really quick. And just for fun, I'm just going to, for speed, I'm going to upload it to my test server just so we can have it. All right, now I uploaded it via Transmit, and let's just do URL, paste that in there. S, set link. Boom. Okay. Let's do contain. Cover is not what we want. Yes. Look at that. Okay, it's tiny, but that's because my content area is tiny. That's okay. Yes. Let's see what does auto do? That sets it. Oh, I think automatically the size. Okay, let's start building out this content area then. Okay. Okay. So here we wanted a 2-column stack. Okay, so we're going to do 2 columns. Okay, and in this column, we're going to have a picture. Boop. Okay, in this picture, I need to get that image, don't I? Okay, here, it was this picture here. See, okay, here, let me teach you guys something here as well. Can't right click on this image. I can't drag and drop this image anywhere, right? Because it's kind of protected. Well, just to preview that nothing on the web is protected, I could just go to the network tab. Actually, even easier, go to sources, go to images, find the image that I want. Is this one, right click, say save file, save it to my downloads. Oh, I already had it in my downloads. Replace, done. Look at that. Nothing is safe online. Okay. Oh, you can't access this in full screen. Cool. This is the one I wanted. Boop. All right, for now, I'm just going to use one image, but, you know, I would probably have different images for small, medium, and large later on using the picture stack. So here you do, you know, source, drag, and drop. You have different images for small, medium, and large. Okay. Okay, on this side, we had some text content. So I have this SVG, okay, which actually I got that SVG from this app called Nucleo. I got little icon things all over the place. So this is an app, I think it was like $99, but it's a one-time fee. A lot of the icon stuff is subscription-based. This is a one-time fee, and you get access to thousands and thousands and thousands of icons. Let's do speed, colored. There it is. So here I can just right click and say copy SVG code. Then I can go over here. Go to SVG. Paste. Okay, there's our SVG code. There's my little dial. Let's have that aligned left. Might want to make that bigger. But let's do like 128, something like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then below that we had header and some text. So let's just add in a header. This was fast and modern. This container is currently set to be content align centered. I want it content just inherit. It's fine. There we go. And then I need some text below that. And let's just copy this text here. Copy that over here. Paste. Boom. Look at that. Ha! I had no idea if that was going to work. I think it could be improved a little bit. I think this blob could be made a little bit better. But ultimately, I think that's pretty good, right? We need some padding over here. Oh, I need this container set to. Oh, it's set to gutter. Interesting. I might want to bring this in a little bit. How does that work if it gets bigger? Here, let's exit full screen here. I want to play with this a little bit. What the hell? Sometimes Big Sur title bars, you can't like drag them. It drives me nuts. Okay. It's pretty cool. Might want to play with this the background size of this. I don't think I have any swatches that let me do that. Here, let me exit full screen out of that too. There we go. Okay. Let's look at that swatch we had here. I mean, I might need to add some more advanced background properties. I need to have a fourth button here. It's like custom, lets you define the size. I think that's what we need, maybe. What happens if I do auto on that? Wow, see, that's too big. I guess one thing I could do is inside the SVG itself, I could change the size of it, right? So that it doesn't, essentially it's going up and it's containing there. And actually, I think I have, let's play with some overflow things. Let's see, it doesn't get cut off. Overflow, oh, it's set to overflow visible. I think this one has overflow. Oh, that's visible too. Interesting. Let's play with this. Another reason why I wanted to do this site before I release the swatch pack is I need to figure out what other advanced things do I need to add to the swatch pack that we could do some cool stuff with, right? Let's go ahead and let's target this bad boy. And if I did background size, whoa, interesting. Actually, you know, one thing I want to do is, so before I had it set to be the background of this container. What if I set it to be the background of the second column instead? That could be interesting. But in order to do that, I would need Columns Pro. So here we go, Columns Pro, because in Columns Pro, I can target individual columns with things. Okay, so we just need to go here. Boom, boom. Drag those up there. Put my picture there. And now I can get rid of this 2 column. And let's go to this container. Let's take this fast blob class. And let's apply it to the second column. Interesting. Gets cut off. I guess that kind of makes sense. Background images can't, they're not gonna, you can't see them. There is no overflow for background images. Let's look at that sketch document. How did I have that set? I think I'm just gonna have to have a but more padding on the container. All right, so let's just, you know what? I'm gonna undo all of that. I just need more padding on this container, I think. Let's just do like, let's just go all in. Let's do 256 just for fun. Boom, look at that. Need to scale this image a little bit bigger, I think, for some reason. It's really tiny. Let's see. Man, look at that. That's so cool. All right, let's look at my sketch doc again. Here I have that image is like big, right? So it's going all the way to the edge. And this, even the content kind of goes all the way to the edge, right? So I think in this container, I need to have this container actually just be the auto. Just, I want it all the way out there. Okay, now we're getting there. Okay, this image. Let's inspect this. I think they want negative margins on this picture. Okay, let's just do this pic-expand class. Okay, and then I'm going to do a margin stack. And on where that was pick dash expand, we're going to do detailed. I'm going to do negative margins of, let's go big. Let's go like 128 on both sides. What that's going to do is that's going to stretch the image out. It should. I think. Let's see. It didn't stretch the image though. Oh, I might need to do that on the column. Interesting. Now, Joe, yeah, now, this is me working. This is me just kind of, kind of playing around and not really sure exactly what I want. I'm really, you can see I'm really close to what I want, right? So this image here, that's the column. And I want to stretch this image even farther. See, I want the right margin to be bigger. Let's do like, go all the way to 256. Doesn't expand the image though. Interesting. Didn't do what I expected it to do. Interesting. Okay, if I go to, let's go to the picture stack again. So this picture stack, I want to fill container.
It's 1:15.
Let's just fill the container. Did I make it, force it to be bigger? What? Oh, it's already with 100%. But it's not. Oh, it is, but I have these negative margins applied to it. What if I make it more than 100%? If I make this like 200%? And apply a max with like 1,000 pixels or something like that. Ooh, that's interesting. I did something. But also shifted the shifted that background image, which is weird. Didn't expect that. I think I might need to manipulate this image so that it is the image itself is cut off. And then okay, yeah. Because right now there's a lot of white space around this image. There's a lot of empty space. I need to fill that image so this image fills the entire. So the image actually goes over here. The image will actually get cut off, and then it'll go all the way out to the edge here. Okay, yeah, that's what I need to do. I don't have time to do that right now. I don't want to muck with that and bore you guys me doing all that work. But one thing I will want to do is you do notice that inside my sketch, these words actually overlap the image a little bit. Okay, which means I need to allow these two columns to overlap. Okay, so how do we do that? We're going to need Columns Pro. Okay. So I should have kept Columns Pro in there. I removed it earlier. We're going to put it back. Put a column in there. Boom. Okay. And create a style. I don't need this. Let's just use this margin swatch. I'm going to call this column dash overlap. Okay. And let's do, this is going to be right column overlap. So this is going to be one that's going to be on the right. So if we want to overlap the right column, we're going to have to apply a negative margin to the left. Let's do that 128 pixels. Yes. Okay, so right column overlap. And we'll, hide that. Scroll down here to this column that contains the image. Paste that in there. Preview. And boom, there we go. As you see, this text is now overlapping. Now I'll probably tweak those values so that it looks a little bit better. And also this is I'm gonna have to put some gutter over here, right? Or put some padding on this column, so that the content isn't all the way at the edge, because that's definitely not what we want. Okay, but as you see, this over here, this is the part I was worried about. This is looking sharp. I love it. Absolutely love it, man. You're like, if we wanted to add some margin, this is the left margin, so ML colon 192. Just something like that, just so you can kind of see. Voila. Oh, dude, that is sexy. I think that's a little much, but very cool. Let's look at the sizing chart. What we got? What's down from 192? 128, 160. So let's tweak that to be, where was that? That was over here. 160. Oh, dude, look at that. Maybe add a little bit, maybe some margin over here so the text doesn't get cut off or something like that, right? But dude, that just looks really, 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 really cool. You can also do the overlap a little bit less too. Let's see, column overlap. What did I set that to? Set that to 128. Here, let's do like 96, a little bit less. Maybe even less. 80. There we go. Check that out, guys. Come on, that's cool. So there we go. Hopefully this, I'll end it there, guys. I'm pretty happy with that. Like I said, I'll modify this image so that it actually goes all to the edge and I get rid of some of the empty space in this image. But yeah, hopefully, did you guys find this useful at all? It's just tweaking, trying to see how we do this and that and add this swatch, do this swatch and all kinds of cool stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed today. Looks like we have quite a few of you still watching, so that's fun. So hopefully it wasn't too boring. So yeah, thanks for joining today, guys. Hopefully I want to have this page done by the end of this week, hopefully. And by next week, there's an entire demo section as well. That is really cool. And as soon as this is done, the site's done, I'll ship that new swatch pack. Go and pick that out. If you, some people send me messages like, hey, Joe, can you send me an announcement when you're going to get, or they missed the email or something like that. If you subscribe to this YouTube channel, YouTube will notify you when I go live as well. So if you want just kind of like little reminders, hey, Joe Workman went live on Weaverspace. Weaverspace is live. Make sure you subscribe. I would appreciate it. And if you have any other questions, like earlier on, Jan had some questions about partials and undos. Join us on Friday at the Hangout, and I'm happy to talk about anything else you got. And we'll go over probably some more stuff. Hopefully I'll have more of this web page done by then, and you can kind of see my progress by Friday. So hopefully I'll see you there. If not, we'll see you again next week live. Not sure what the topic is next week. but I'm sure it'll be cool. So, and thanks for being an awesome member of the community. We'll see you on the community site. If you have any questions, post them over there. And I love you. Take care. Have a wonderful week. Bye.